him. Boy, did he. That sprightly son of a bitch. An Aarakocra fellow from the north used to run in the yearly takings from the great hunt into Port Zlosa. He heard of our plight and came a-flocking for the same reason I was out here. Excitement. He was young all right, having been at least 70 cycles my younger, but commanded the utmost respect. We all came together and decided rightly on this individual. Captain Featherback, with his sharp raptor eyes, caught everything. Slip up and he was on top of you like the bird of prey he was. Well, yes now. We spent some years sailing, whaling routes to get our bearings together. Here's where things got interesting. You see, the first mate of Coppermore didn't right like being demoted after a few slip-ups that Featherback couldn't stand for. And well, with my experience on the deck, Featherback saw fit to appoint me the position. After one particularly unsuccessful run, just our third together, the sore old fool attempted mutiny. Featherback didn't say a word, not the whole time this fool was attempting to rally the crew to his side, running mouth for a time not so short at all. Well, we got his point across, I think, and fell silent eventually. Featherback spoke only twice for the rest of the day, once now to address the crew. We'll never forget what he asked. "Man and woman before me, would you follow this emotional fool over me?" That was it. That was all he asked. We all waited for more, but it didn't come. I don't even remember his name, that sore fool. He rallied and shouted out asking we'd follow him, fist to the air. He wasn't no fool, he said. Not a goddamn person said a word. Stark still, quiet, in fear. We all knew what came next. There's not a single person had his back. No, sir. It appeared Featherback was given every opportunity for this poor fool, but we all believed in Featherback. What came next was bone-chilling. Well, Featherback looked this poor fool in the eyes and said one thing more. I suggest you see yourself off the side of that railing beside you. And you know what happened? The sad bastard did it. He leapt from the side of the ship without another word, crashing against the waves and floating pieces of ice. We certainly didn't see no body rise to the surface. Poor fool. Featherback said nothing more, and we all simply got back to our stations. The next exposition was set. We were headed towards Krakenbeak to hunt the monstrosity that can be found in such far waters. We were all so excited. Couldn't wait to get out there. Never before had I seen something so beautiful. The black abyssal waters, the open sea save for the green-blue glacier that graced the tops of the ever-present waves. It was harsh, it was wet, and it was treacherous. And I loved every moment of it, and lived truly for the adventure. We spent 5 years on the sea hunting and running it back to the nearest port town. We was living fast, making many connections and many prizes. Slayed some of the most terrifying things I ever laid eyes on. Something called a leviathan. Big old snake-like fish creatures, sometimes the size of the boat itself. But what happened next confused me greatly. I still don't know how I feel about it, after all these years. Featherback had treated us all well, and trusting us like we was family. Well loved was he, and successful were we. One day, though, headed back from a particularly harrowing experience with a young kraken. Having slain the horror, Featherback pulled me into his quarters. Now, this experience was like a blink of my eye, and I can't rightly remember everything that happened even. I've been alive for over a century. What was 5 years? Well, Turns out, 5 years can be everything to an Aarakocra. I hadn't even noticed, but he was growing old, and for the first time I saw him as the sickly elder gentleman he had turned into. The sprite in his step was gone. He didn't fly so much anymore, for he was bundled up against the cold. Well, frankly, he didn't look so good. I know I say it a lot, but I won't never forget what he said to me. No, he said, "I want you to be captain, friend, for my time is coming to end on this plane. I have glimpsed my death, and I wish to walk into it with open arms. Once we return to port, the ship is yours and I'll be gone. You've been my best friends in all of these 20 years of life. But I have one last favor to ask. Never forget me. Please." Damn near broke my heart, seeing the fear in the poor captain's eyes. All he wanted, all this time, was to be someone, to be remembered as something great. I've missed him every day since he went the way he wanted, and unfortunately I couldn't sleep the night he did it. Plunged himself right into the frozen waters, but 9 hours away from port. I watched his body as we was floating away until it couldn't be seen no more. Well, for the first time in my life, I actually cared about losing someone. Made me think real hard about what it means to be a team, family, who all share a different past. Even me, I wouldn't rightly have survived had my brothers and sisters not been there beside me in the beginning, None of the opportunity I'd had would be there, and no one would answer me. I made a promise to myself and only myself, right then and there, to take care of the folk under my purview with vigor. We became even stronger. Well, not to cut the story short, but them days we was living so fast, I can't rightly remember any of the moments. Well, there was that one time, I do remember, vaguely, making the decision to search again for that island, that temple I'd heard of some century ago at this point in the story. I'd gone through 4 washes of crew members by now since taking captain, as it seemed I was one of the few who held vitality for so long. Still, we was a family through and through, headed out across the sea to the southwest where this island was supposed to be. Well, we found it all right, but it damn near took our lives. Damn place must have been some form of breeding ground for these kraken that so lurk the sea. One after the other, we pulled up babies. The shells, extremely valuable, we spent much time collecting. That is, until Mama came by. She whipped us right good, and it was all we could do to deter her from destroying our ship. Quickly we sailed away, and at some point, she stopped giving chase. Only goes to show how fragile mortality is, We lost half the crew, and it was my first time doing so. Well, anyhow, the important part is after the death of Featherback, I spent damn near another 3 centuries on the sea, slaying the creatures what were carrying on them rare components and collectibles. Not the sort of creature you eat, that's for sure. I lived my life fast. So fast, in fact, that looking back on it, these 3 centuries sped by like nothing else. I was moving so fast, it became hard to commit nothing to memory. I already had spent so much time up in this head of mine, you see. And so, eventually, my time came. I got old, elderly, near the end of my 4th century. I retired as captain of the motley crew who had lovingly developed the name Suelghyrn Marridor for ourselves. Yeah, I remember them wondering how they was gonna keep going, but they understood. Yeah, well, what with the lesson Featherback had taught me, I understood too. My only hope is that, well, this creed survived. But I never looked back. No, sir. Never saw him again either.